Hello everybody, welcome to this next lesson. This is something we have not learned yet, so this is a new lesson. Today we are focusing on fractions on a number line. Now we are familiar with the word number line and we are familiar with fractions, but we haven't done much with fractions on a number line. And I wanted to quickly show a number line. We use a number line to add and count forward. We also use it to jump back when we're subtracting. We also use it to skip count, 3, 6, 9. And we also use it for labeling fractions on a number line. But when we think about fractions, we're actually just focusing on this section between 0 and 1. Because that's where all the fractions fit in when we're looking at one whole, between 0 and 1. The distance between 0 and 1 is just 1, or 1 whole. Before we get into that, I want to quickly review something. When we look at these fraction models, I'm looking at this first model here. I can see that this is 1/2 over here, and 1/2 over here. When I look at this fraction model, I can see these are all fourths. 1/4, 1/4. Each one I'm labeling is the unit fraction, what one piece is called. Now, on my number line, I can see that 2 is less than 4. But in fractions, actually, the bigger the number on the bottom, the smaller the piece. We can see that even though 4 is bigger than 2, 1/4 is a smaller piece than 1/2. So I know that 1/2 is greater than 1/4. 1/2 would also be greater than 1/8. Even though 8 is a bigger number than 2, the piece size of 1/8 is way smaller than the piece size of 1/2. So I'm 1/2, sorry. So I'm really just comparing the piece sizes. 1/2 is going to be bigger. 1 whole is the biggest. Okay, I'm looking over here. Each unit fraction here is 1/3. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each one here is 1/6. And I'm labeling each unit fraction here. Now 1/3, even though 3 is smaller than 6 on the regular number line, the piece size, 1/3 of this whole, is much bigger than 1/6 of the whole. So that means that 1/3 is greater than 1/6. The bigger the number on the bottom, the smaller the piece. Now I'm officially moving into today's lesson, and we're focusing on fractions on a number line. Now, if I look at this blank line here, I'm going to show 1 whole. And if I'm labeling this 1 whole on a number line, I'm going to show that it starts at 0 and ends at 1, because the distance from 0 to 1 is just 1 whole. I'm not going to add anything else because that's all I have, just 1 whole here. 0 to 1, 1. Now I'm going to show what 2/2 looks like. If I took that 1 whole and split it in half, I would have 2/2, 1/2 and another half. I'm going to label that again, that I start with 0 and I'm still ending with 1 whole here. But now I'm going to split up this whole in half, right where those 2/2, that first half starts and the second half starts. So I have 1/2 and 2/2. If I was showing this on a number line though, I know from 0 to this little marker here is 1/2. This is how I would label it on a number line. And then from 1/2 to 1, I have 2/2 or 1 whole. So I'm going to label 2/2. When it's the same number over the same number, it's also equal to 1 whole. Okay, I'm showing my next bit here. Now I'm going to show thirds. And as we saw, the number on the bottom is getting bigger, but the pieces are getting smaller. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't show that. Okay, so I'm still going to start with 0. And I'm going all the way to 1 whole. Now I'm going to label where the piece starts and where it ends. So 1/3 starts at 0 and it ends right here at this marker at 1/3. And then from 1/3 all the way to this dot, this line here, I'm going to label that. But instead of putting another 1/3, I'm looking at the whole here. From 0, I have 1/3 and then 2/3. I'm counting both of these here when I'm labeling my next part. 1/3, 2/3, and I'm going to label that 2/3. And then my final piece here, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, and I'm going to put 3/3 underneath that 1 whole. 3 out of 3 pieces is also equal to 1 whole. Okay, next one. Now I'm going to do fourths. Okay, now I'm going to start with 0 here, and I'm going to end at 1 whole. That's all we're doing, from 0 to 1 whole. From 0 to this first dash here, I can see I only have 1/4. So I'm going to label that 1/4. From 0, I have 1/4 and 2/4. So I'm going to label that here, 2/4. And then this next bit, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I'm counting all of these together. 1, 2, 3, I have 3/4 at this point. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 4/4 at this final point, which is also equal to 1 whole. Okay, this last one is a bit challenging. Oops. Okay. Now I have 8ths. Now I'm still going to start from 0 and go all the way to 1 whole. This first bit here, you guessed it, is just 1/8, because that's the distance between 0 and this first copy of 1/8. Now I'm counting 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to label that 2/8. Now I'm going 1, 2, 3, and this point is going to be 3/8, and then 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, and 7/8. All right, now I want to show what this would look like if I was doing a unit fraction number bond. So I'm going to go back to my thirds. I'm going to take off my strips here. Now I'm showing my thirds. I want to show that if I had 1 whole, and I'd like you to do this with me, how many thirds give me 1 whole? 1, 2, 3. So I would show 3 unit fractions, what each piece would be called. 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Okay. If I showed that down here, how many unit fractions would I need to give me 4/4? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I would need 4 unit fractions to give me 4/4. A unit fraction is what one piece is called. Okay, that's all I'm going to do today. I'm not going to do all of the eighths. I think we get the idea. Please make sure you do the practice along with this so I can see where you are with your understanding. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye.